History tells us Colorado voters hate raising taxes on everyone. They will, however, make an exception, history shows, for raising so-called sin taxes. Increased taxes on things like cigarettes, gambling, marijuana. Well, every voter in Colorado gets a say on Prop 119 this fall. It would raise pot taxes for education funding. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger explains.
Proposition 119 looks wordy and confusing. A yes vote means you want to increase the state pot tax from 15% today to 20% in 2024. It would also transfer about $20 million a year from the state's general fund, money lawmakers decide what to do with, and another $20 million from a fund that currently pays for school repairs and some school district funding. That would create a new fund for out-of-school learning and enrichment. A no vote means the statewide pot tax stays at 15% and no other changes are made. Saying yes to 119 would not pay for K-12 in-school education or teacher needs. That is paid for through your local property taxes. And when your local property tax is not enough, the state has to backfill. A yes vote would create LEAP, the Learning Enrichment and Academic Progress Program. Students from low-income families and those working below grade level could be eligible for at least $1,500 a year for outside-of-school tutoring, second language training, even mental health services. Providers of that would have to be certified by a new Colorado Learning Authority, and parents could not be providers and seek money to teach their kids. You won't see that on the ballot. It's part of the legal language that gets put into law.
Now I know what you're thinking. How much is this going to cost me when I buy pot? Oh wait, you were thinking that. Humor me anyways. I want to show you a page out of the Blue Book, and I find it fascinating. The state has to show how much it might cost pot buyers if the state tax is 20%. So find your income level on the left. And the dollar amount on the right is the state's estimate for how much more you'll pay in pot. These are all estimates since the state cannot track the income level of people buying pot. The state used statistics from the U.S. Department of Labor and the Centers for Disease Control to come up with this estimate. The bottom line, right, literally at the bottom, the state believes 1.2 million people buy pot, and that higher 20% tax would create $137 million. The middle part there is blurred because it shows how many people in that income category buy pot, and how, like, I just didn't want to confuse you too much with too many. I find this amazing.
That is fascinating stuff. Like, I'm furiously taking notes on that. So per the state's calculation, people who make $250,000 to $499,000 a year, so people who are doing real sweet, not spending a whole lot of money on marijuana, but the people who are making the $100,000 to $150,000 are literally blazing through their money.
If I'm reading that correctly, and I think I am.
That's wild.
The lowest income levels more people buy pot in the low income levels, but small amounts of pot. The people in the $100,000 or the $1 million range, there are fewer people in that category, but they buy the most so that they would have the highest tax impact.
That's wild, though. Okay, so when you showed those tax percentages, I mean, like going up to a 20% tax on marijuana, like that's a significant amount of the purchase price going to taxes, but it could be even more depending on which city you're in.
Right, in some cities, Denver, I have notes here, DeBeck, Fort Lupton, Idaho Springs, Lakewood, Los Animas, and Yuma are all having city tax questions. So you have the state tax for marijuana, and then cities tack on their own. And in those cities I just referenced, you're going to see another ballot question for your city tax. So you're not seeing duplicate. You're seeing two different taxes on marijuana.
Some of those totals were wild. You people need to start saving money for groceries. All right. Thank you, Marshall.